It's a great segue because obviously last night, I know for a lot of my friends, it wasn't a good night. The USMNT fall to Uruguay and bow out of Copa America. They do not make the round of 16. Alex Campbell, you watched this closely. You had a very, very juicy tweet that I honestly, I stand. I definitely did stand there. Kind of just, your thoughts, man. Dude, another heartbreak here for the U.S. Berhalter, the pressure, more pressure. If there was already enough pressure, now add last night to it, man. Give us your thoughts from last night, brother.
It's just the way it ends. I don't think could be less satisfying because the U.S. last night. I don't think did they play great. No, but I don't think they played poorly. I think they lost by 1 goal to a team who was on paper better than them. So without the rest of the context, okay, that's whatever. But when you add the fact that this game wasn't supposed to matter, you were supposed to take care of business against Panama. The Tim Weah red card throws all of that out the window. You don't get any help from Bolivia last night. Not that you should have been relying on that anyway. And then to muddy the waters just even further, the one Uruguay goal, it seems to be consensus was offside, and that CONMEBOL is using cameras from the 1970s, which is very funny to contrast with, Renee, you mentioned all the soccer that's on TV. Over at the Euros, we've got a computer chip in the ball. We've got automated offside. We've got the referee getting a buzz to his ear within 5 seconds if it's offside or not. And meanwhile, in CONMEBOL, we have a offside VAR check that takes about 3 minutes, and then gives you a still frame that everybody can at least see. Whether it's actually offside or not, we might never know for sure. The left toe of Chris Richards is maybe keeping the player on, but the line they drew on the screen is clearly not parallel to the white lines in the 18-yard box. So just, I think the slapstickness of it all is what stands out. I think Berhalter probably goes. I've never been a Berhalter out guy. I'm kind of exhausted by the people who magically think that switching the coach will turn the United States into Brazil. And it seems like about half the fan base legitimately believes that. I think the tough place we are right now is whoever the coach is, the players have to do better. It's great to celebrate the season that Christian Pulisic just had for AC Milan. I would argue the single greatest club season an American man has ever had in professional soccer. But you look at the rest of the squad, whether it's guys who don't play for their clubs, guys who are injured all the time, some guys who maybe have even regressed over the last couple of years. Whoever the coach is, whoever is leading this team into the future, they've got to find a way to either, just kind of find an extra motivation, that extra drive for this team. And honestly, what's going to define this team's success probably isn't who the coach is. It is, we need these players to be playing more for their clubs. We need them to stay healthy. And if this team is going to, rise above where it is, which is comfortably in what I would call the second class of international men's soccer, that kind of, it's probably somewhere at teams, I don't know, probably about 10 to 18 is kind of that range. JP, I know as a Colombia fan, you guys are kind of right on that cusp, I would say, between tier 1 and tier 2. And if you look, there's just that next group of teams that I think that's what the U.S. are right now. And if they're going to rise above that, there's a lot of work that's got to be done. And it sucks to see them go out of the tournament. They would not have been favored against the winner of tonight's Brazil-Colombia match, certainly in the quarterfinals, but at least check the box. And this was just such a strange series of games for the U.S. And it just leaves me, you wanted stronger emotions. Instead, I find myself just kind of feeling meh about the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, Alex, one of the biggest things that you hit on was the fact that this team has a lot of work to be done. And although many, like myself, are anti get rid of Greg Berhalter, I do feel as though regardless which side you are, it's more than just coaching, And I know yesterday's or as of the moment we're having this conversation, we're a little under 24 hours out from that game last night on Monday night, I should say. And it's just when you don't set yourself up to be successful, and this directly will translate into our discussion around the Union and the Fire, you are more apt to have unlucky bounces, unlucky plays. you have to take care of business. And for the U.S. men's national team to need help and need all these things to work their way instead of just going on and winning, you had the first 2 games of the group stage you should have won. And there's no reason why you should even had to go on a Monday night needing help and trying to squeeze out a win. And they continuously have set themselves up to fail. And it just leaves more questions than answers. And unfortunately, that goal is just one small thing of like, bigger picture, you shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. Like, I always believe, don't leave it up to the officials. Don't allow them to dictate the outcome. Take care of business, score goals, get stops, help Matt Turner, help Christian Pulisic on offense. Like, do what's necessary to win the game. And then it doesn't matter what the officials decide. But it was just, to me, the like ultimate slap in the face, because now it takes away, or not even a slap in the face, but it's like a distraction, I should say. It takes away from the bigger picture, because now you have all the players are fussing over the officials. Everyone's fussing over how the report came out around CONMEBOL about their review and how they didn't see it as offside. But the bigger picture is not the call; it's the team they need to be better. Period.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. I mean, this is potentially a big summer for a lot of guys. Gio Reyna and Weston McKennie are effectively both unemployed right now. They are either not wanted by the club they are contracted to, or don't have a place at the club they are contracted to, and that simply they've got to figure that out. And there's other things. For example, we've seen what Yunus Musa isn't playing for Milan and does not seem to have upped his game. Chris Richards, those were the 3 worst games I've ever seen him play in a U.S. shirt, and that's weird because he just had a great club season. And meanwhile, Matt Turner is not playing and is hurt. And there's, to your point, there's just so much work to do. And I would like to see a coach who's a little more on the kind of rah-rah motivation side than the tactical end of the spectrum, where I think Berhalter more falls. But that's kind of the point. Regardless of the new coach who comes in, if the players are not in better form or not healthier and do not get better, it doesn't matter who you hire as the coach. If the players are, if this is who these players are, even the best coaches in the world can only get them so much farther than somebody at Berhalter's level can. If you're ever going to reach truly that next level, it needs to be both things.
It does. And it starts on the development side. You have to have a better pipeline into the U.S. men's national team. Definitely on the club side, as you mentioned, these guys need to be taken care of, getting better in club. And we're not just going to continue relying on Christian Pulisic to bail them out and win games for them. They need to have more depth. They need to have more pieces. They need to have more talent, and they need to be able to catch up because, as you mentioned earlier, they are absolutely in the middle tier in terms of international soccer across the world, where the U.S. men's national team compares to other countries is not great. So hopefully they can. We've been saying this for years. Hopefully they can get it figured out. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this, that, and nothing has changed. So I think that's the frustration piece also of like, how many years are we going to have this conversation? Or is it going to take missing another World Cup? Is it going to take continuing to have group stage exits? What needs to change for this group? A lot.
I guess the last thing else.
Alex, go ahead. No, go ahead, Alex. You're good.
I was going to say the last thing I'll say is, and I've heard this phrase used elsewhere. There's this idea that, we have players at elite clubs, they should be good. And it's like this mentality called like basically badge FC, basically like, we have players at these fancy clubs. It's like, well, that's all well and good, but we have lots of players at fancy clubs, but we only have 1 or 2 guys who actually play for the fancy clubs. And so my theory for the player pool is I want guys at the highest level where they can be a consistent contributor. And, I cannot imagine it's been easy for Tyler Adams to, end up at a place like Bournemouth, which, yes, is the Premier League, which, is you can make great money there regardless of who you're playing for. But it's not Leipzig. It's not the kind of clubs he was being linked to before. And so I think either these guys got to up their level where they're playing, or they have to realize it would be better, for all our Serie A guys, it would be better for you to be starting week in and week out at a club like Fiorentina or Sampdoria than rooted to the bench at Juventus or AC Milan. So, I think hopefully this is eye-opening. Hopefully it's a shakeup, and hopefully this is a week of experience that, proves valuable in the future.
It's good points you guys bring up. Like, as someone who, like, obviously I'm not a fan of the USMNT, but I always root for the USMNT. It's like, it's super natural for me. But like, looking at the team, I just feel like they do have talent. I don't think they have like the talent of like a Spain or a Germany or England, but like they're not terrible either. And I just feel like they have been underachieving with what they do have. And you bring up a good point too, Alex. Like, like right, best example is Colombia, right? Like we have a bunch of guys who, yes, we have Lucho Diaz who plays for Liverpool, but you also do have guys who play in Argentina and Brazil, Mexico. James Rodriguez is a freaking free agent. He's playing at the best level he's played in the past couple of years. So it's really about the collective, and it's about buying in and playing that team soccer. And so, whatever the U.S. does, just getting back to that, I think that's going to be really big. And, the U.S. should be in the round. In the group that they were in, they should 100% be in the round of 16.
Yeah, they should been in the quarterfinals. Yeah, they were the fifth favorite team in this tournament, according to the odds, behind Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, and Uruguay. I mean, they've proven they are the best team in CONCACAF. There's going to be a bunch of discourse about that because Canada made it out of a group where all they did was beat two bad teams, and then after parking the bus against Argentina, like that's so. The U.S. is in a weird place. They have proven they are probably too good for the countries around them, but not good enough to, challenge the elite of, say, South America. And so, it just lots of unsatisfying, unanswered questions, I think.
We all silly like the mayor.